Hello ladies and gentlemen, Teveron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week with a list that I'm a bit more confident in than the previous Zombies list. I've had more time to test, though admittedly not a ton, as I am having to get a backlog ready because I'm going to be out of town next week, and I need to record F&M for that as well. Anyway, there's still server issues going on, so I may be unable to gauge exactly how long this video is going to be because of the downtime between matches. If it comes in a little short, I hope you'll forgive me for that. But this week we're going to be playing Grixis Dyna-Drake, and you will quickly see where that name comes from. There we see one of the namesake cards right there, Enigma Drake, which I have been very impressed with, but let's go through the list as a whole. We're running 2 Fatal Push, Early Game Removal, 2 Pull from Tomorrow, excellent draw spell, draw X cards, then discard a card. I think that we only need 4 dedicated draw spells in the deck. As such, we are only running 2 Glimmer of Genius, as you will soon see. Also running a pair of Censor, and while I was a bit skeptical at first when seeing this card, it has been incredibly good in my testing thus far. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1, and if it's late game or we just need to draw something more useful, cycling for a blue. And even cycling feeds the Enigma Drake. 3 Harness Lightning, just such a good removal spell, cheap, and also feeds our Dynavolt Towers, if you hadn't guessed what the second half of the naming scheme was referring to. And Enigma Drake, of course, 3 mana for a star 4. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in our graveyard, and we have a lot of those. It is flying as well. Also to Dynavolt Tower, 3 mana for recursive, just constantly output of energy and damage. 2 Scatter to the Wind. Counterspells seem to be a lot better these days than they were even just a short while ago, and Scatter to the Winds is our hard counter of choice. 2 Unlicensed Disintegration. While I would like to have 3, we are erring on the side of some more versatility with the deck. Just one of the best removal spells in all of Duels, though, hands down. The first of our Planeswalkers is Liliana the Last Hope, helps us control the board, lets us recur our creature threats, and her emblem is game-winning. Also, Kalitas, Traitor of Ghet, kind of a ubiquitous card in most control decks, sporting the color of black, life gain, recursion removal, just an all-around all-star. There are our 2 Glimmer of Genius, which rounds out our 4 pure card draw spells. 2 Languish, our board sweeper of choice, as the -4/-4 is often relevant, getting that extra minus in over Yahenni's expertise, and we very rarely would want to cast an extra spell off of an expertise in any event. 2 Cut, first of our Aftermath cards, and this honestly may be better as a 2 of, but I have been super happy with this so far. A 2 mana sorcery that deals 4 damage to a creature. The ribbon side that we cast from our graveyard is another game-winning threat. For 2 black and X, each opponent loses X life. We are also running a singleton Dark Intimations. In the past, we have run the full 2 of these. However, we are on the more versatile utility plan here, and again, it may be correct to go up to 2, but I haven't got that far in my testing yet, and as a 1 of, it has been incredibly good. Also running Jace, Unraveler of Secrets, who draws us cards, is board control of a sort, bouncing creatures, and with an emblem that is incredibly powerful as well. Also running Ob Nixilis, again with our theme with most of the Planeswalkers in these decks that I like to build, is card draw, board control, and then an emblem that helps us win the game. We are running Torrential Gearhulk. Why wouldn't we? We've got so many instants we would love to flash back. He is instant speed, so that helps us deploy him and keep him alive, and he is a huge body as well. Also, his brother, the Noxious Gearhulk, is more board control and life gain to keep our life total in the positive range. Also, worth mentioning that they are artifacts to help turn on our unlicensed disintegration. Next up, we are running Cruel Reality, and while some of you may be skeptical about a 7-mana enchantment, this card has been unbelievably good for me. It has single-handedly won a lot of games in my testing thus far. Even with Reclamation Sage being as heavily played as it is, we just have so many targets that they need to deal with that Cruel Reality comes down and just eats their board in most circumstances, and then if they don't have anything for it to eat, it kills them really quickly. Then we have a singleton Never to Return, destroy target creature or planeswalker, and the flip side for a 2/2 zombie. That's not super relevant, though it will help us, more importantly, stop recursive threats if there's one in their graveyard we can get rid of. The better utility is the being able to destroy a planeswalker of our choice. And also a singleton Commit, and this is a little bit of a recent change. For most of my testing, I was running 2 Commit to Memory and no Never to Return. And Commit, while being very good in most circumstances, is something that you don't want to draw multiples of. Put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library second from the top. It helps delay your opponent casting things that would hurt you very much. Also, another use that I've found for it in my testing is if we have a threat out we really want to keep on board and they target it with a removal spell, we cast Commit on our own threat, thereby getting rid of their removal spell completely into the graveyard, and our threat will be back in our hand in a turn or two. And then on the other side, Memory, I have not actually gotten the chance to cast Memory yet. In most circumstances, you just don't want to do that and refill your opponent's hand, but I speculate that versus Sphinx's tutelage decks, this will be hopefully an ace in the hole, though it still may not be enough. And our mana base is 5 islands, as we are much heavier on blue now, as you can see. 3 swamps, 1 mountain, 2 Wandering Fumarole, 2 Smoldering Marsh, 2 Sunken Hollow, 2 Drowned Catacombs, 1 Sulfur Falls, 2 Dragonskull Summit, 3 Aether Hub, and 3 Evolving Wilds. That is the deck list. Let's play some games. Alright, this is a perfectly fine hand. We're going to keep it. We've got early interaction, we have a Dynavolt Tower, we have a board sweeper, and we have a card draw / threat / board control. Just the Swiss Army knife of planeswalkers, I suppose. Alright, we do want to draw some more lands. We'll lead off with the Sunken Hollow. That will let our Sulfur Falls and many of our other buddy lands, as some people call them, come into play untapped. Alright, Walking Ballista from the opponent. Not an incredibly scary threat. At least not with this particular deck. We want to hold off on killing creatures, hopefully until we can languish them away. That would be very nice. We do want to get our Sulfur Falls down so that we have Censor available to us. Probably fetch with Evolving Wilds next turn, unless they just do nothing, and then we may just take the turn off to deploy Dynavolt Tower to try to get that going. Alright, taking 1. Also, there is something to be said for waiting until we can Dynavolt Tower with Censor backup, or some other removal / counterspell to stop a Reclamation Sage. Ooh, Prowling Shepherd. We can't counter that, unfortunately. We can languish it away, though. Enigma Drake. So, we need to fetch this turn in preparation for Languish next turn. So we're not really going to be doing anything. Let's go ahead and put that out there. We'll hold off, try to disguise the fact that we have Languish in hand. We're going to be fetching up a swamp. We may just go ahead and cycle this Censor as well, as it's not going to be incredibly useful for us at present. Going to be taking 6 damage here. They are wisely not casting any more creatures. Let's just go ahead and fetch here. Get ourselves a swamp. And I do think we are going to cycle this Censor. That's fine. Alright, another land. That is excellent. Let's play that out. And then we will languish away this quite threatening board. Get shot for 2 more, going to 11. Right, it would be awesome if the opponent didn't have anything else to play out, but I doubt that that's going to be the case. They have a good number of cards in hand. Another Ballista. Okay, that is a little unfortunate, as it being at 2 means that if we kill it with Ob Nixilis, it can in turn kill Ob Nixilis, so it would be nice if we could draw some other removal spell here. We could commit it to memory, however, that would mean it would be back in a couple of turns. We could also Enigma Drake here. It would be a 2/4. Unfortunately, though, as much as it pains me, I think trading Ob Nixilis for it is the better option. Unless they just decide to shoot us instead. I would imagine they're going to kill the Ob. Yeah, they are. Which they very much should do. At least that removes the Ballista and saves us some life loss. We're also getting into the realm of casting pull from tomorrow for a significant number of cards here. That's interesting. That means I'm going to discard Commit, as we can now flash it back with Torrential Gearhulk. And it looks like they are not able to cast another threat. Maybe. Nice. Good for us. Alright, we will play our Dragonskull Summit and pass. If they do not present us something that we want to counter with our Torrential Gearhulk, we're just going to cast Pull from Tomorrow for 4 cards. The trick with a control deck like this is being patient. Knowing when to be patient and when to be aggressive. And that's something you basically just have to fill out and get through experience. Alright, it looks like we are, in fact, going to be able to cast Pull, which is awesome. Alright, we have to discard a card. And the card we discard is going to be an Enigma Drake. We want to keep making our land drops, and we want our removal spells. Kalitas is excellent. Even though it's going to let down our shields a bit, I think our best option here is to play Liliana plus Enigma Drake. Lily may eat a Anguish Unmaking, but if that's the case, it is the case. And here comes Enigma Drake, who is at this moment a 4/4. So, which is more important to you to get rid of? Oh, we're drawing and discarding. I'm going to discard the Aether Hub at this point. Actually, might have been better to discard the Sunken Hollow since we don't yet have 2 basics for the Sunken Hollow to come into play untapped. Now that I think about that. Alright, they are discarding a land as well. Languish? Sure. Languish my Singleton Enigma Drake all day long. Alright, we got a basic, so not punished. I like this new interface here. You hit it and it shows what graveyard things you have available. We do not want to cast Memory. We could tick down and recur Enigma Drake. Although, I think we're just going to tick up. I'm not going to play Dynavolt either, as I still want to hold up Torrential Gearhulk, so we're just going to pass. And the opponent has unfortunately gotten themselves in a position where they've been using this on their turn and using their mana up. They, in most circumstances, want to be using it on our end of turn so their mana is available during their turn. Ishkana, do you have a Delirium? You do. Let's delay that for a bit. We'll do this one. Confirm. Yes. I want to cast Commit. And we could cast Memory because it does count as an instant since the commit side is instant speed. Alrighty. We'll play our Sunken Hollow. And now we want to get the opponent dead, so let's activate our Fumarole. Yeah, that's fine. We'll go ahead and switch its power and tap. They have left the game. We are going to continue. Here we go. And we will swing for 9. We will tick up Lily on nothing. And we're going to cast Dynavolt over Kalitas so we can hold Fatal Push to kill this Shambling Vent. And we want to use... Yeah, that is fine. And send it back over to the opponent. Distended Mindbender. Well, they get to get both of our cards, that's for certain. I guess we could cast this. It's not going to kill anything, but it would give us energy. So, yeah, let's do that. Get a couple of energy, no reason not to. The Mindbender would make us discard it in any event. And that could pose a little bit of a problem, as it's going to delay us in killing them long enough for Ishkana to come down, but we're in a position to be ultimating Liliana pretty soon, so maybe it's not that big a deal. Let's shrink this down. And we don't want to sacrifice our Wandering Fumarole, and it'd be nice to block for Liliana, so let's attack. Alright, chumping with their Mindbender. Ob Nixilis. Do we make them pay one more? They're going to kill this. I don't think that's relevant. We're going to ultimate Lily and just win through that, so sure. Resolve your Ob Nixilis. Would generate 2 energy, though. That would be relevant, which would allow us to have killed Ob Nixilis, so maybe it was the correct play. If they have an Anguished Unmaking, we're going to be happy we still have it in hand. That is, if they don't have an additional land drop too, so they didn't. They drew. Apparently they see that they're going to die. Reclamation Sage, we're going to say no. And then we're going to untap and kill them. Let's go ahead and deal 3 damage here. So the Liliana ultimate is not even going to be an issue here. Though, since we can, why not? Let's Wandering Fumarole. And we do want to switch, make sure we kill them. Don't want to give them an extra turn. And I will see you guys in the next game. This is a bit of an unfortunate hand here. I think we need to mulligan. That's more along the lines of what we want, though we do need red mana at some point. Let's keep this. Would be nice to be on the play with the Censor in our hands, but you take what you get. A second Sunken Hollow. Well, we're going to play 1, and then we can play a basic next turn to have Censor up. Looks like our opponent's on the Sunken Hollow plan as well. Looks like we are playing a mirror, at least in color. Alright, let's play out an island and pass. We may be playing a bit of draw-go for a while here with them, if their deck is at all similar to what we're running. Alright, fetching up. Another island, okay. Going to hold on to the Censor for now. That's nice if we could get a red source out there. Alright, Fumarole, that is a potential threat for the opponent, though we have removal for it eventually. Hopefully. There is a red source for us. We're able to hold up counter spells while fetching, so we'll do that. Get a mountain. And pass. Alright, Aether Hub, very similar mana base, at least. Do you want to cast something? Nope. Not going to be the first to blink. Alright, we'll play another Sunken Hollow and continue to pass back. In these control matchups such as this, in a lot of circumstances, not all by any means, but in a lot of circumstances, the first person to break ranks is the one that usually loses. Alright, we do want to keep drawing lands, as that is also very important in these mirrors, or pseudo-mirrors. I don't really know what exactly the opponent's running, but Glimmer of Genius. Also, generally in these games, you want to let the opponent just cast their draw spells and save your counters for things that actually impact the board or your life total. We will be countering that, or at least trying to. Not paying the Awaken, as if they have a counter of their own, we want to be able to counter back with Censor. Alright, second Scatter is excellent here. And we may want to take this opportunity to just resolve an Enigma Drake. No, I'm going to wait one more turn to where we can play the Drake, Censor, and Scatter in the same turn. Alright. Still nothing from the opponent. Nice. We'll play this Enigma Drake, and if it gets countered, we're not going to fight over it. Okay, let it resolve. They're either going to kill it or the one power is not threatening to them at the moment. Alright, Harness Lightning. Very well. This may be a matchup where Memory actually needs to be cast to recycle the deck. We'll see. Going to start swinging with Wandering Fumarole. Thought I heard the sound that they were going to activate it, but they're past your attack step. That was a little bit of a mistake. Cut, okay. No targets have presented themselves as of yet. Do we want to play Kalitas? I think we do. Still able to hold up our counter spells. Or unlicensed disintegration, as the case may be. We're going to let that happen. Alright, not activating Fumarole. Just passing, okay. Cruel Reality is excellent, excellent, excellent. I don't want to try to cast it through all this open mana at the moment, though, so... we want at least one more land out to have a hard counter backup for it. And we would like for them to tap down a little bit. Jace is worth trying. So let's do just that. Broken Concentration. Do we fight over Jace? It's the first counter we've seen from them. Let's let it resolve. It would be nice to draw one of our card draw spells. Refill our hand a little bit here. I would love for them to activate that Fumarole, but it looks like they're not going to. Let's see if we can counter their Jace as well. And that resolves. That makes me think they don't have a counter. Since we were tapped as low as they were, they would definitely have won this counter war. Which means this is the perfect opportunity to slam Cruel Reality. If it will let me do that. Target them, curse them, and they should have no way short of bouncing this to deal with it. Which means they also have to spend another card to counter it. 5 life. They could have activated their Fumarole and sacked it if they wanted to. Heart the Water Veil. Is that going to tap you out? Well then. Pay one more, please. Alrighty. We will just pass back. Take them to 10. Alright, fetching up. They do have a lot more cards in hand than we do, but we have a incredibly good threat on the board. Alright, telling time. I cut the telling times from this deck because I think we just have enough good cards now. Well, that is unfortunate. They can 6 us here. However, cruel reality means they're going to either have to sack Chandra or sack this Wandering Fumarole on their upkeep. We do have unlicensed disintegration if we want to kill something. Such as if they activate this Fumarole, we can unlicense it and they still have to sack Chandra. So let's just pass. And they didn't, so bye-bye to Chandra. Alright, Torrential Gearhulk. For, what are you targeting there? I can't tell. Oh, sorry, continue. Ah, Glimmer of Genius. Makes sense. All right. Well, we're certainly going to disintegrate this. Though, again, it might have been better to Languish plus cut it and save Disintegrate for instant speed removal. We have a lot of good choices. Let's recur. Kalitas. Then if they choose to activate and sack the Fumarole, we will get a zombie. Looks like they're content to let Ob Nixilis go bye-bye, though. Alright, graphical glitch there, putting their Evolving Wilds under our graveyard. Ooh, Chandra Flamecaller. Killing Kalitas, but they've tapped their Fumarole. Or Fumarole, rather, so Lily can't be attacked here. A Sphinx's tutelage, that is interesting. Gives them an out here, perhaps. Commit, we could put it back into their deck if we wanted to. Let's go ahead and tick up on nothing. And pass. Alright, sacked the Chandra. Going to mill us, which could actually help us. You know, in the right circumstances. I don't think I want that to resolve. At least not yet. Let's delay it a couple turns. Alright, going to draw and discard. Mill us a couple more. If they put a Cut to Ribbons into the graveyard, then that's going to be lights out. Also, we could perhaps cast a creature and cut it ourselves, just to get the cut into the graveyard. Let's see, let's use this button. Oh, we've got some memory. Alrighty. I think we throw Lily away at this point. Yeah. Let's get Enigma Drake since it's huge. Go ahead and play that. And pass the turn. Looks like they're still unwilling to activate their Fumarole and sack it. Unless they just don't realize they can do that. That could be the case as well. Radiant Flames, okay. Need a second spell. Okay. Sure. Yep. Discard cut. Thank you. And now we have ribbons available to us. Alright, Chandra is back. If they cast that, we don't have to worry at all about counters. They do cast it indeed. And that should be the ball game. Let's go ahead and sacrifice this Evolving Wilds. Get a swamp. And a second tutelage. It's not going to matter. We're not going to let it go back to their turn. Let's cast Ribbons for 6. And on to the next game. Our casting cost curve here is a little high, plus I don't like just the Aether Hub plus a mountain. We're going to mulligan this. That's a bit better, I suppose, depending on what we're up against. Alright, swamp for the opponent. We're going to lead off with our Smoldering Marsh. Scatter the Winds is nice. We have the ability to have enough blue out to scatter on turn 3. Alright, looks like we're up against vampires, so we need to try to protect our life total as much as possible. This is not a great hand for dealing with an aggressive deck like this. Something with a bit more spot removal early on would have been a lot better. But we didn't know what we're facing, so we do the best we can with the information we are given. See how fast a start they get out here. Alright, not choosing to discard. Olivia, that is unfortunate. We may just want to cast our Enigma Drake here to block. Though holding up Scatter also could have its benefits. I think that having the blocker is more valuable. Could just eat a removal spell and then we're going to be sad, but such is the way of things. Alright, Chandra, that could classify as a removal spell, in which if we knew they had her, then Scatter would be the correct call instead of the Enigma Drake, but we didn't, so... Discarding something? No? Okay. Yes? Alright, discard a land, get in an extra damage. We are probably going to lose this game. We just have not had a very good hand for this, though Languish certainly helps. And I don't think we can afford to hold off on it. Hopefully Chandra doesn't just eat us alive, but... at least that slows them down a bit. Alright, ticking up for a reveal. Yep. Well, take 2 damage. And Insolent Neonate. Okay. So now we have to hope our Dynavolt Towers can carry us. That is asking a lot. Well, since we're not going to be casting anything but a tower, we might as well fetch here. Get another island. Play out a tower. And we're looking at minimum 3 damage here between Chandra and the Insolent Neonate. Scrap Heap Scrounger, they are going to cast that, I guarantee. So at least not damage immediately. However, any reach at all and they are going to just wreck us. Alright, another Neonate. Drawing our second Languish would be nice. It is not to be, however, as much as I would like to get the Fumarole out. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They could potentially have us dead. So our best bet to survive is to play our second Dynavolt and hold up, Scatter to the Winds. Alright, Chandra shows Fiery Temper. We will be countering that if they choose to cast it. And they do. Generate a little energy. Not enough to get a Dynavolt activation though, unfortunately. And we need something big here. I mean, Kalitas is okay. Cast Kalitas. Play our Fumarole. Cast Pull from Tomorrow for 0 for the energy. And then kill this. Don't want to target these. They can sack in response. Which it doesn't matter. They do have Menace. We would still get the zombie. Oh, they're going to give us another zombie. Thank you? I guess you're going to push my Kalitas so that this doesn't get exiled, but we got a zombie in any case, so sure. And you're tapped low enough that you can't recur it and swing with it next turn. We're still in horrible position. Don't get me wrong. We're still in a really bad position here. 2 to us. Probably the better choice. Yep. We can't block this. It has Menace. And we go to 1, so Chandra kills us next turn. And they got a lot of gas. Alright, we pretty much have to cycle this. That might be enough to keep us alive? Well, they just recur Scrap Heap Scrounger and crew the copter, but redirect here. Continue. Kill Chandra. And we're going to give them an opportunity to make a mistake. I don't think they're going to make the mistake, but we'll give them the shot. Yep, they're not going to. Yep, good game, opponent. 3 more energy and we could have maybe lasted another turn. Alrighty, good game. Good game, just didn't get the removal we needed early enough. And that happens sometimes. Hopefully we'll do a bit better in the next one. Okay, yeah, we'll be keeping this hand. And I think this is probably going to be our last game, as these games tend to go on a bit long, except for, you know, the vampires smashing our face in. We've got Harness Lightning or Censor into Dynavolt, and then Jace a bit later. If we don't... Okay, continue. Goodbye. That was a little bit interesting. Well, Island. There we go. Hopefully we get to counter something. And hopefully we don't get stuck on literally the 3 mana that were in our opening hand. Alright, not countering anything here. That is unfortunate. Please draw some land. If we don't have to counter something here, we are going to cycle Censor trying to draw land at this point. Well, literally every single land they've got's coming into play tapped, so... Land? Haha! Good deal. Pass. Hold up our counter/removals. Our opponent is not having trouble making land drops, that's for certain. I'm not certain how good this Nissa is, but I'm also not in a position where I want to find out how good it is, so bye-bye. That is unfortunate. I think we probably need to get Dynavolt down. And we need to draw some lands. Rattling off about 3 in a row would be awesome. Opponent's stuck on land too. That is at least good. Looks like we're up against a Planeswalker deck. And they just used all their energy, so these will not be quite as good. Upticked, huh? Guess it gives it a better chance of survival. Not that we can Wandering Fumarole and attack it as of yet, but... Enigma Drake or Jace? I think we want to be mana efficient and try to draw more lands. So... yes, please give me that mountain. That will turn on our Wandering Fumarole, as well as allowing us to cast 2 burn spells in a turn. Alright, just ticking up on Arlen. Evolving Wilds, also very nice. Well, let's draw with Jace. Sure, I'll take that. Let's fetch up our second black source. And, sure, let's get Enigma Drake down. You know, they have to flip it to ultimate her, and if they don't have creatures out, then the ultimate... If they don't have creatures in their deck, then the ultimate's useless, so... Of course, it is the AI, so there's obviously no accounting for what it does. Alright, that is good. You know what else is good? Well, first... bottom. You know what else is good? cruel reality. Even if it gets Rexage, they're going to lose Arlen Cord. Bye-bye, Arlen. Feels like you did absolutely nothing, which I think is accurate. Okay. Do we emblem Jace or keep drawing? I think I'm just going to emblem Jace. This should end the game really quickly. We can hold up removal. We've got Glimmer. Really no use to swing with the Fumarole either, so... Well, despite my saying that these games are most often long, this one doesn't seem like it's going to be. Yeah. Glimmer. I don't want either of those. Well, we got one Languish in any event. Hello, Enigma Drake. Let's cast that. And since all we have is instant speed removal, no counters, despite saying I'm not going to, I am. I'm going to swing. And if it gets killed, it gets killed. If not, we can potentially kill them on our next turn. Alright, we could Fatal Push our Drake and not kill it just to Ulamog, okay? Yeah. Let's swing. Switch the power and toughness. And we'll see if they're dead now or a little bit later. And they're dead now. Awesome. Well, that will do it for this episode of Friday Night Magic, friends. Sorry that last game was perhaps a little anticlimactic as these things go, but what can you do? You take what you get, I suppose, especially when you're in a time crunch. In any event, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like below. It really does help tremendously. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more in the future. I have been Teveron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.